Breaking down the most common myths, these are the world's most contagious falsehoods. Napoleon was short, that's a tall tale. At 5'9", that was actually above average for the normal Frenchman at the time. I mean, you don't even need to go that far back. Most of the leaders from World War II were under 5'9". Washington and weed. George Washington grew hemp to make ropes and clothes, but there's no evidence he was actually smoking it. I didn't even know that was a possible myth. I really wish I did, though. The flushed water rotation in toilets, that does not rotate the other way in the southern hemisphere. This sort of effect does not affect water in toilets in general. Dang, I don't know if I believe that, but I had heard that was a thing. Jihad is a holy war. It actually translates as struggle. Multiple personality schizophrenia technically means split mind, but is different to multi-personality disorder. Only 10% of the brain. This is a misunderstood metaphor. Portion of our brain firing is task dependent. Ultimately, all cells are important. Drop pennies kill. Terminal velocity of a penny is 30 to 50 miles an hour, which isn't fast enough, but it would obviously hurt though. Shaving thickens hair. Wait, I thought it does. Regrown hair isn't thicker, coarse, or darker. It just appears so because it's no longer tapered. Whoa, that one kind of gets me. Caffeine dehydrates you, not really. Depends on the water on the caffeinated drink. Humans and dinosaurs, despite 41% of US adults thinking they coexisted, we actually missed each other by 63 million years. Wait, 41% of US adults thinks we existed with the dinosaurs? I thought those were just memes. I didn't know that. Oh god. We have 5 senses. We actually have close to 20, including balance, pain, movement, hunger, thirst. No, Einstein did not fail math. Damn, that was my only excuse. I don't like geometry. Don't touch baby birds. Birds have limited sense of smell, so won't abandon babies who smell of humans. Dang, I've always been told that one. Viking horned helmets actually created by a costume designer for a 19th century Wagner opera. Wow, that's pretty depressing. Great Wall of China, not visible from space. Myth, now stop saying it. I feel like some of these are a little bit gray, though, just to be honest. Maybe I don't want to give up the myths, but you could argue the way these are phrased, whatever. Japanese diaspora, or countries with the highest amount of Japanese population outside of Japan. Unsurprisingly, the US has a lot of people with Japanese ancestry, and so does Brazil, obviously. And I've covered this a lot. And there's actually a lot of Brazilians also living in Japan. In fact, when it actually comes to this map, the country with the most is, in fact, Brazil, beating out the USA by almost 500,000. Now, a lot of these Japanese people moved to Brazil like over 100 years ago, more like 150 years ago. And again, this explains an obsession that the Japanese islands have with Brazil. You can see it in a lot of Japanese video games, in fact. There's a pretty big drop off to the third country, which is Canada, only 129,000, but considering Canada's size, only, less than 40 million, that's still quite a bit. The fourth place country, the Philippines, with over 120,000 Japanese living here. Then in fifth, Peru. Did not think Peru would be beating out a place like China. It just says to me, the Japanese probably do not want to return to China, and China probably doesn't want the Japanese to return either, but a little history there. They don't want to think about that. There's a lot of Japanese people that are living in Peru, though. Kind of the same reason the Japanese went to Brazil is the same reason they also went to Peru. Gonna finish off the list, we've got Australia, Mexico, Thailand, Argentina. Japan really likes Latin America, I'm noticing. They actually like it a lot more than Europe. There's even 20,000 of them in Micronesia. There was even a president of Peru that was part Japanese. Oh wow, I guess that should have been super obvious. What each state has the largest of in the world? This is chosen by absurdity. So my state of California has the tallest ballerina clown, a height of over 30 feet. Why? I don't know. California, that's why. It was revealed in 1989 in the Venice neighborhood of LA. It's located on top of a CVS pharmacy. Nevada has the largest fire-breathing praying mantis. This is just clearly a Las Vegas thing. See, I'm not even batting my eye to something like this. Yeah, this is just like typical Las Vegas. Like, what else do you expect? It gets a little bit more weird, though, when you get to Idaho's baked potato. Then again, Idaho is known for growing a lot of baked potatoes. It's like our potato holy land. Oregon with a 50 feet peace candle. Washington with a paper airplane. That thing looks like it might actually be able to fly. Utah with a watermelon slice. Arizona with a 20 feet cow skull. I feel like this should be in Texas somewhere. Big ol' harp in New Mexico. Texas has a 20-foot long killer bee. A golden driller in Oklahoma. Souvenir travel plate in Kansas. Ball of stamps in Nebraska. A jackalope in South Dakota, and a large cow in North Dakota. I've seen that before. This is what is known as Salem Sioux. For some reason, it kind of reminds me of the giant statue that Mongolia has. I don't know. I'm just kind of getting like a similar vibe. What the hell is this, Minnesota? Hodag in Wisconsin. Isn't this the, is that a cryptid? A weather vane in Michigan. A rubber chicken in Illinois. It's only 6 feet, though. That seems like it would be kind of a fun thing to punch. Golden spike in Iowa. Underwear in Missouri. Mr. Peanut in Arkansas. Ronald Reagan in Louisiana. We also have a rocking chair in Mississippi. Also, my state made of Alabama brick. It's the most Alabama thing. A 25 feet high brick. Why? Alabama, if you could just stop embarrassing me for once. It does have the title for world's largest brick. It is a little bit interesting. Wait, did you make the brick out of bricks? Well, I mean, that doesn't really count, right? If you made the brick, what? We've got Mr. Peanut, then Georgia's Peanut, large alligator in Florida. That's fine. That's what you're known for. Fire hydrant, chest of drawers, cedar basket, also a baseball in Kentucky. Why isn't it chicken? Just a giant chicken. Ball of hair. You know what? I don't even know what to say about this. Horseshoe crab in Ohio, root beer mug, a roller skate in Virginia, tooth, an Amish man, an acorn, split buttoned trowel, sperm whale. All right, you know what? Okay, that's fine. This was definitely a very obscure list. Why is the Hodak the only one without a size? It's so ominously blank. I'm guessing that means it can change forms or something. The driving direction in Europe circa 1922. So this is only about 102 years ago. So of course, back then the UK was still driving on the left. I like how a lot of tourist destinations really have to tell people like, yo, you gotta go on the left, remember that. But some other notable countries that used to drive on the left, but not anymore, Iceland and Sweden. There's also the former nation of Czechoslovakia and Hungary. Finally, there's Portugal. But also, you might be asking yourself, why is there a purple color, Drew? If red is driving on the right and blue is on the left, what could there be a third category for? That is mixed, yes. I don't know how you can drive, well, is it just like choose your own adventure? Do whatever you want to try your best to survive. No, I'm assuming mixed means in some parts of the country it was on the left, in other parts it was on the right. So basically a lot of countries were split depending on the city or province. Then like obviously something had to be mandated to unify. So there were areas of Spain, Italy, and Austria that were doing both. Just seems like absolute chaos. Could you imagine like rolling up to a city and not knowing which side to be on? I guess in those days there was probably a lot less traffic. It was probably less scary. You really had to focus more on just like dodging horses still. For reference, this is a world map of who drives on the left and the right. As you can see, pretty much everywhere in Europe decided just to drive on the right, like the majority of the world here. Ireland and the UK are still holdouts. I do find it interesting some of these smaller places. Malta's still driving on the left along with Cyprus. Basically, it was just the British that exported the whole driving on the left thing. You can see it in a lot of their former British colonies. For that reason, we have all of South Asia in that category. But interestingly enough, they never colonized Thailand or Indonesia, but I'm wondering, they did get Malaysia, so did their neighbors just kind of follow suit with that? They also obviously did colonize Australia and New Zealand. I feel like I have to keep looking this up because I keep forgetting, like, Japan's like the only outlier. Like, why did they choose to drive on the left? I can make sense kind of all these other places. I guess it basically has to do with the samurai and how they wore swords on the left-hand side. That kind of feels like one of those myths we were just reading about in the beginning of the video. That seems too good to be true, but maybe it is, I don't know. Average age of leaving home. Now, funny enough, the butt of all the jokes here is usually Italy. The average age of an Italian leaving home is 30 years old, but they're actually ranked 10th on this list. Maybe that was more of a thing of the past, or maybe just the Italians get a lot of, I don't know, attention. Number 9 is a country very close to Italy, Malta, just barely beating them out though. Does 30.1 even count? Spain is in 8th place at 30.3. Bulgaria is tied with them. We have Greece at 30.7. Finally, the top 5, Slovakia at 30.8 and Serbia at 31.4. North Macedonia 32. Montenegro gets the silver place or second place with 33. And finally, Croatia just barely beating out Montenegro. They're getting the gold. Funny enough, geographically speaking, this is all like Southern Europe, Balkans, Southern Europe, Mediterranean nations. There's got to be a cultural thing there. Honestly, I advocate for this. I tell people all the time, like, you just stay at home for as long as possible. Save your money, especially now. I was advocating this like 10 years ago, but now with everything so expensive, don't even leave. If your mental health is good, don't even leave. I think it's good to leave. You'll experience a lot of growth as a person, but man, right now the economy is just like, what the f. Right now, there is nearly 6 million Ukrainian refugees. Let's see where they went. Obviously, this is all caused because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Some of the places in yellow could have up to 3 million. And one of those places is Russia, in fact. Some of these places, especially just to escape the chaos, and if you live on the border anyways, it's going to be safer this way. But the real big countries are Germany and Poland. They have both received more than 1 million Ukrainian refugees, which that shouldn't be too surprising since Poland is literally on the border, and then Germany's just like an economic powerhouse. I think that's probably the other reason why for them. Slovakia got a bid, and so did Czechia, but that range is somewhere between 100,000 and 500,000. Still quite a bit. Moldova even got a lot, but not so much for Romania, and Hungary. Belarus, it kind of seems like a weird place to go. If you're fine living with Russia, then just live in Russia. If you want to go west, then, you know, go to Poland. I could see why Belarus probably didn't pick up that many. The Baltics are a little bit far, just geographically speaking, so is all the Nordic countries. So those places could have gotten anywhere between 30,000 and 100,000. Even the UK and Ireland got quite a bit. So did the Netherlands. Not too many going to France, interestingly enough, and I wonder if there's like a language barrier there. Well, there's a language barrier in a lot of these places. That's definitely a big factor for all these. A lot of people went to Italy and Spain, in fact. Meanwhile, the United States have welcomed more than 200,000 Ukrainians seeking refugees since March 2022. It's going to be an interesting topic to see how this develops in the years coming. Some things that Republicans and Democrats in the US actually have in common. The number one thing here, eat popcorn. I just want to know who's not eating popcorn. Are you saying a third of Democrats and a third of Republicans have never eaten popcorn? Or do they just not eat popcorn regularly? I guess I would be in that category, but if you just ask me, do you eat popcorn? I mean, duh. The second thing they can agree upon, say they always try to see the good in people. Okay, interesting. There's actually both an equal amount of Democrats and Republicans at 57%. The third, rank Amazon as their fave retailer. These are the most random things, like, okay, 56% interested in cooking. I feel like it almost feels like they're really having a grasp at straws here. This is actually just funny. Interested in travel. Like, these are just like those generic questions that obviously people are going to say yes to. Or clearly not. I mean, this is only half. Only half, both sides are interested in travel. Some other categories, though, wish they knew more about how their data was being used. Now, that's a cool one. Check phone first thing before and after bed. Say they always try to speak their mind. Enjoy documentaries. Buy pet toys. Go to McDonald's regularly. Don't trust big corporations. Worry about AI. Eat pancakes and waffles. Like, what? That is so random. Like easy listening music. Only 20%. What is this? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I don't even know what to say about this. I did get a nice laugh from that, though. It's really reassuring that Congress should be able to pass bipartisan popcorn legislation. On the opposite side of things now, are you satisfied with how American democracy is working? And this is going to show the change over time over the past decades. Because in December 1984, the Democrats were just under 60, so were the independents. Obviously, with Ronald Reagan in charge, the Republicans were really having a good time. Here's May 1991. Democrats a little bit further down. The independents were about the same, and then Republicans still relatively high. Remember, they still had a Republican president at the time, George Bush Sr. June 1992, right before Bill Clinton, the Democrat, was elected. Again, the Democrats still going down, so are the independents. Even the Republicans, in a way, are going down. Finally, October 1994, they did get Bill Clinton in there. For the first time, the Democrats have gone up. They are enjoying democracy. The Republicans are about the same. And this is going to be a weird... Okay, we're 1998. This is going to skip so far. Okay, this is going to be... Whatever. Is this when Bill Clinton and the relations happened or something? So yeah, we're talking 80s and 90s, and then we immediately jump to January and December. I can tell you right now, there were some crazy things that happened between 1999 and 2021. I wouldn't be surprised if it went up and down and up. This is really misleading. I'm a little annoyed. Anyways, as you can see, Republicans have gone down, and well, I think everything in general is kind of down except for the Democrats, and this is obviously because January 2021 is when Joe Biden took office. I don't know what this was really, yeah, without being able to see the years in between 1998 and 2021, it seems like the data was cherry-picked. Well, yeah. The best countries for retirement in 2024. Criteria is housing, visa, cost of living, affinity rating, healthcare, climate, governance. Number one on this list is actually the nation of Costa Rica. I've been to Costa Rica. Costa Rica is pretty nice. I don't know if I'd want to retire there, but they have a score index of 83. Then there's Portugal. Portugal probably would be a pretty nice place to retire. I've never been to Portugal, though. Very close to going. I'll get back to you on that. Then there's Mexico. I've already heard of a lot of Americans going down to Mexico to retire. Depending on which part here, that could be very nice. Then there's Panama, Spain, and Ecuador. So Panama right next to Costa Rica. Then we have Ecuador here. I would definitely like to retire in Spain. Spain is nice. France is surprisingly on the list, but not the highest. I think the biggest thing that probably keeps them down is cost of living. A lot of these places will have lower cost of living. France can be pretty expensive, but I bet you in certain parts it's all right. There's Greece, Malaysia, and then Colombia even. Funny how you can definitely see climate is definitely a factor. I wonder how Malaysia beat out all these other places in Asia too. What they do. If you have money, then yeah, these places are great. It's kind of what it comes down to. To my patrons this month, thank you. Lucas, the Canadian Goose from Avoca. ZaneyBoi, Sarsath. I cannot sleep without douche. Amateur Archaeology. aPhatNarwhal. DaBeautiful-MEGAN,
Fredrik Tibblin,
KansasWasMentioned,
KingBearHaze,
KingBearHaze, Prentice,
LuxembourgLover,
and the Tambre 760.